So yeah, we got a few new things we're going to talk about today. We want to talk about some new features on the Ingenious Cloud, and basically this is there's a mapping feature on the Ingenious Cloud. It's a lot like something you'd see in like a predictive site survey, like an Ekahau tool, but just with Ingenious access points. It allows you to add a simulated access point, right, Brian?
Yeah, and it's been there. It's just been updated and moved.
Yeah.
So there's there's several improvements there, I guess.
Yeah, so let's say that you haven't even used Ingenious Cloud yet, you don't own any access points, but you want to see how many access points that you're going to need in the building or the house that you're working on. Indoor and outdoor, you can basically just add these virtual access points and place them on the floor map and see what the coverage areas will be. I'll put a screenshot up now that kind of shows how it works. Now you can see here I put the ECW 260 outdoor access point outdoors there, and you can see what the coverage would be if there's no obstacles. Now I didn't draw on the walls yet of the building, but it's showing what the 5 gigahertz coverage would be of that access point in open space. And then the other 2 access points are actually real access points that are already placed on the map and that are running. So you want to say something else about this, Brian?
Yeah. So 2 things that were improved. So we have Polycom.
Yeah.
You can actually continuously draw the walls on the exterior walls or interior walls. So
right.
It allows you to you don't have to pick up your mouse and click, multiple times. You can do a continuous line.
Right.
So that's one thing. And then you have actual APs and virtual APs. Actual APs are the APs that are already within your building.
Right.
Or within the cloud. And if you want to see where to improve, or if you're seeing signs of improvement where roaming's not right or the clients can't connect or something like that, you can take a virtual AP and drop it in those locations to see what the coverage would be or how you could improve that coverage.
Yep.
So that's what you would do with the virtual AP. The other thing is that you can actually click on the AP and you can click, there's a little wrench, which is you can modify the channel and the HT mode or the channel widths.
Output
power of the device to see what kind of improvements you see on the actual floor plan.
Oh, nice. So you can modify it right from the map, and then you can see in real time what the signal strength would be. Now, is that only on the virtual you're talking about?
No, you can do it on the actual and the virtual.
Oh, okay, but so the actual ones, what is it? Then it's doing a predictive coverage when you click on that.
Yes.
Got it. Okay, got it. All right, so that's really good. I mean, that's it's giving you a pretty powerful tool there that you're going to be able to plan out the job before you get there without buying something like Ekahau Site Survey, and you can do indoor and outdoor. And yeah, I haven't looked at this mapping the floor plan tool in a little while. It's come a long way. They've added quite a bit to it.
Oh yeah, yeah. And, yeah, they actually moved it up front, so it was a little bit hidden before. So you had to go into the AP list, and then you had to dig down into floor plans. Now it's up in the forefront a little more with these improvements. So yeah, it's a great tool because what we run into a lot of the times are there's typically a roaming problem or something like that, and when it comes down to is AP placement is one of those things, and not enough APs. And so this really floor plan. And you have your APs that are already placed, and you're having some roaming problems or coverage problems, then you can use this tool to kind of simulate. Okay, if I put an AP here, what is the outcome? Because you can show the radio propagation and the what the RSSI is as you walk through this building or as you travel across the floor plan. So yeah, a lot of big benefits there.
Okay. Nice. So yeah, that's a good feature. All right. So we want to talk about something that's kind of new, the DFS channels on some of the Ingenious access points. So on which ones support DFS now?
Yeah, so obviously the trend for Wi-Fi is 11AX, and that's, moving forward, you'll see a lot of Wi-Fi 6, a lot of Wi-Fi 6E come out from Ingenious, and so a lot of our concentration is on Wi-Fi 6 or 11AX, right? So on the ECW 220, on the ECW 230, on the EWS 357, and on the EWS 377, which are all 11AX access points, we're supporting DFS channels on those particular devices. So you have the ability to use those channels in different deployments, as long as you're not close to the radar or something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, a lot of vendors have been using those for a long time, and there's mechanisms in place that if you're near like a military facility, it'll switch channels and do things like that. But that's great, because there's not that, without them, there's not that many channels available, right?
That's right. Yeah.
But so with them, we're kind of looking at it too, like we're looking at the speeds on some of these channels can be different because the output power is different. Now, the Uni 3 channels have the highest available output. Those aren't DFS channels, but if you want to put an access point where you're going to get the highest speed, put it on like channel 149 to 165, right? Because there's, in the 5 gigahertz we're talking about, there's more transmit power available, so you can possibly get faster speeds.
Exactly.
And you guys were doing some testing with the ECW 230, and you saw some really good speeds there, right?
Yeah, there was a customer was comparing another vendor with ours, and was pretty happy with the speeds, but so we have this intercom tool to like a chat tool, and we were working with them, and we made some suggestions on basically what channels to choose to maximize the performance of the 230. And using Uni 3, you're going to maximize, you're going to get more power.
Yep.
And, in his particular case, they had his cleaner channel. So he was averaging right around 900 megabits per second with his client device. So he was actually doing really well. Now, what we found out too is he also had to make some updates on his client device. It was an Intel chip or Intel radio on his laptop as well. But the combination of the two made some major improvements on his speed. So he was averaging, before he was getting like 600 somewhere around there, and 600 to 700 somewhere around there. But after making some adjustments, he was able to see right around 900 on average. So made some really great improvements. So if you're trying to maximize performance on access point, be sure to look at Uni 1, Uni 2, Uni 2, and Uni 2 extended, I should say, and Uni 3, because there's different, the channels, you can have so much output power on those particular channels, so you can maximize on Uni 3.
Right. I'm gonna try to connect over here on my laptop to see if I see numbers. So on my phone, I'm seeing about 600 meg. I crank the power up, and I'm on channel like 153, I believe. I want to see on the laptop like what kind of speed I can get here. If I can, he could have had like a 3x3 laptop or something like that, possibly. I don't know how many exist. Most of them are 2x2. On the 2x2s, I'm still seeing like about 650, but I've heard other customers telling me that they're getting these really super high speeds.
Yeah.
So it could be a combination of what adapters they're using and things like that.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, if you want to maximize, you can choose to go to like Uni 3 channels, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think those are used outdoors a lot too, Uni 3, right? Because you can turn the power up more. Indoor, outdoor are different power regulations, right? So
and so some of our our different access points have different specs, right? So like our outdoor 11AX on 5 gigahertz goes up to 26 dBm. So you can really take advantage of Uni 3 in the outdoor situation.
Yep.
Definitely for coverage area, but for a better experience with the client device.
Right. What other features did you want to talk about in the Ingenious Cloud? There's some more new features.
Yeah, so there's some upcoming features which I may or may not talk about.
Yeah.
So we did make some changes to band steering.
Oh, yeah.
We used to have forced 5G or preferred 5G, and so we were getting mixed results because of the different clients. The clients really negotiate how they roam and how they move around within the network. So we changed up the algorithm on the 5G, so it's always preferred 5G. The result is just a better roaming experience with a lot of the different clients that are out there. So that was a major change. What you'll see is you can't choose forced 5G or preferred 5G. It's already written into the algorithm to prefer 5G.
Oh, okay.
So that experience should be.
Oh yeah, that's good. That's good because we can talk about why that's good because if you do force 5G, then you really have to know what you're doing because you have to have full 5G coverage, right? And a lot of people don't do that, and they just I want it to be faster. I'm going to turn this band steering on. So if you force 5G and you don't have full 5G coverage between APs, they will not ever roam to the 2.4 gigahertz radio, and then they'll just disconnect, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that's the danger. That was the danger of band steering. And if you're just preferring it, then they're gonna try to get the client to go on 5 gigahertz first, and then.
And you can still modify the RSSI threshold.
Mm-hmm.
It's just missing those two things. So now it's it improves. It'll improve the overall experience basically for running.
Yeah.
From AP to AP or negotiating if you're going to be on 2.45 or whatever. So
I'll have to try it because that makes it more foolproof, I guess. So that you really don't have to know exactly what you're doing to enable that band steering now.
Yeah. The other thing that we also worked on is I can't go into the technical aspects of it, but we improved the 11AC models within the 115, the 120, the 160. So there's improvements there. But I was going to bring up that I know right now we talked about this before. The inventory levels on 11ACs are really tough, and we're starting to kind of see that right now. So we have availability, but it's becoming tougher and tougher to get 11AC, specifically on the 120, the 160, and the 150. But we made some advancements there, and so the overall performance on 11AC has improved as well. That's another feature. We have some other things coming up, client bandwidth control via radius.
Yeah.
So there's a couple things coming around there. There's another tool coming out for firmware trial zones.
Yep.
So you can actually apply betas or beta firmwares to specific access points.
Okay.
Apply across all of them, and it's a 14 day trial period. So it'll allow you to apply beta firmware to just a small set of access points to test. And if after the 14 days, if you just leave it and they test out well, it'll apply to all the rest of the access points within the network.
Okay.
So that's another thing that's coming.
Nice. I was going to say, you talked about 11AC chip availability a little bit. Now, I think Ruckus announced that they'll be discontinuing all 11AC products at the end of the year, probably for the same reason probably. So I mean, I think people should transition to Wi-Fi 6 as soon as possible. Because
if you're not, we said this before. If you're not in 11AX right now or Wi-Fi 6, you should be. I mean, just the overall experience is just way better.
Yeah, but for right now, you should probably take whatever's available because there are still shortages on different manufacturers' products. We're seeing a lot of switch shortages, but we're selling a ton of Ingenious switches. I know I told you this. It seems like people have figured out that Ingenious switches are mostly available right now. So 24 ports, 48 port PoEs, whatever, they're available. I think people are seeing that.
48 are a hot ticket they're the hot product right now.
Yeah.
So we've been doing really well. We've made a lot of advancements within, we're known as a Wi-Fi company, but we've been doing switches forever now. So we've added a lot of features like extending PoE, for example, and
Yeah.
things like that. So now we have multi-gig and 10 gig switches as well, so we're adding a lot to that. We do have a 24 port and a 48 port multi-gig coming out here shortly. I'll be launching that product by the end of this year, so that's another thing that's
Nice.
coming out as well.
Yeah. So there's a pretty good line of switches, and the availability is good so far. So if anybody needs switches and they're waiting on some other manufacturer's product line, you should look at Ingenious because we can ship them out now. All right. One other thing I wanted to talk about was they finally released a 24 volt PoE injector that works with a lot of the Ingenious outdoor APs. So so I mean, some of the Ingenious outdoor APs are they're standard 48 volt compliant, but other ones are using 24 volts, and those injectors were packaged. It's a special proprietary injector that's packaged with the device, and it's hard to get extras. So now we have one. I'll have those in stock. I'll put a link to where you can get them. But yeah, for like the ENS 202, ENS 500, ENH 500s, and Station 5 ACs, and this also has a reset switch. So a lot of customers always ask me about where you can get these, and I've always had to send them to support because we couldn't get individuals.
Yeah.
But all right, Bryan, anything else you want to talk about?
No.
All right, good. Have a good weekend, and we'll see you next week.